D.Respect presents Album Titles.
In 1990, Eric B. and Rakim released Let the Rhythm Hit 'Em. Track number 3 on that album was In the Ghetto, where in the hook, Rakim expresses that in the ghetto, which 24 years later became the inspiration for Common's 10th studio album titled Nobody Smiling. What more responsibility does an artist have to their hometown after what many would consider an artistic and financially successful career? Do you inspire through your actions, or do you preach the good word of ethics? Common takes a coming home approach addressing these well-publicized issues within the stomping ground of Chicago. When I think Common, I think hip-hop ambassador, and I realize it's not fair for me to put him in that conscious box, but the youth crimes in his hometown sort of force him into that lane. And I guess if Kanye's going to obsess over Kanye, if you scale it down a notch, Common is the second largest voice in the Chi. But the thing is, when Common puts out a cautionary track like Kingdom, who's listening? It's okay for the older and wiser folks to preside over the inner city crimes and agree that something should be done, but with the exception of Chance and Vic Mensa, a lot of Chicago's hip-hop trailblazers are Little Bibby, Little Herb, and of course Keith. I guess it's natural for the 42-year-old dignitary to get overlooked in the grand scheme of things when speaking of the inner city violence, because the inner city youth is busy listening to the inner city youth. And anytime you hear somebody reference Rakim, it normally has to do with social and self-awareness, the sort of grassroots that an MC is supposed to be made out of. Hometown pride, intelligent, and most of all, dope. Rakim was in his early 20s when he put out that album. I think even if he was in his 40s at that time, he still would have got his point across. Music minds were still being molded. People were still understanding what all this hip-hop shit meant. With all of Common's good intentions, he isn't the right artist to reach out and grab the attention of the 16-year-old rapper in Chicago, which is why he featured so many young artists on the album to try and qualify his relevancy within the young listeners. Kanye wouldn't have to do that. But that's another video. So if there's any moral victory for someone in Common's position, it's a congratulatory pat on the back. With all the recent race wars surfacing, this album couldn't have come at a better time, but it'll probably fall on deaf ears because it didn't come from the right artist.